Before becoming a global media icon, before becoming a host on one of the biggest television talk shows in the world, before being awarded one of the most prestigious awards a single individual can get.
Oprah G. Winfrey.
Oprah Winfrey was dealt a hand of cards that many other individuals would fold under. On January 29, 1954, Oprah Gail Winfrey, better known as Oprah Winfrey, was born in rural Cusco, Mississippi, to her then 8-year-old mother, Vernita Lee, and her 20-year-old father, Vernon Winfrey. This family of three would be short-lived though, as Oprah's father was set to be stationed at a distant army base, and her mother left for Milwaukee in search for work. This would leave the young Oprah in the care of her grandmother, who worked as a maid. These times were rough, as Oprah's grandmother was a very stern parental figure, even described as brutal, usually disciplining Oprah by physically beating her by lashings.
Many of you have heard me share the story of growing up rural Mississippi, obviously a black girl. At the time we were called colored people, Negroes, and my grandmother was a maid. That's all she ever knew. The only real expectation she held for me was that I would one day become a maid and, in her words, have some good white folks, meaning people who would not speak negatively about me, who would allow me to take food home, who would be good to me, would treat me with some level of dignity and respect. That was my grandmother's dream for me.
Although living with her grandmother was rough, Oprah credits this period of time where she would discover her passion for reading and public speaking, as at the age of 3, she had already been memorizing scripture from the Bible and speaking aloud at her grandmother's church. For the upcoming years, Oprah would continue to live in poverty. Not only that, but she would be racially discriminated against, in a time where racism in America was at an all-time high.
The first night entering into that house and being told that I wouldn't be able to sleep with my mother and I wouldn't be able to sleep inside the house, but there was a little foyer porch before you actually got inside the house. And I was put outside to sleep there. I later realized it's because it was the color of my skin.
At the age of 6, Oprah would find herself moving away from her grandmother and bouncing between her mother's and father's household every now and then. It had seemed that she had escaped the brutal life she was living with her grandmother. But around this time, as if she wasn't already going through enough hardship, she would be met with one of her earliest experiences of trauma. At 10 years old, Oprah recalls being sexually abused on countless occasions by one of her teenage cousins and her mother's boyfriend. These traumatic experiences and strained relationship with her mother pushed her to her limits. She couldn't stay in this environment for any longer. The neglect, the abuse, the pain was all too much for the young Oprah, leaving her no choice but to run away from her mother's home. When Oprah was 14, she went to live with her father, Vernon Winfrey, in Nashville, Tennessee. Although her father was a strict disciplinarian similar to Oprah's grandmother, Vernon offered the young lady a life of stability through religion, education, family, and hard work. Here, Oprah would experience a turning point in her life, as she used these foundational values instilled by her father to excel in high school, earning high grades and being elected as a student body vice president. Further continuing her education, she enrolled at the University of Tennessee and decided to major in communications. To further help fund her schooling, she also began competing in beauty pageants. In 1972, she was crowned Miss Black Tennessee, which on top of receiving a scholarship would also be a stepping stone in her securing a job as a television reporter for Nashville's CBS WTVF-TV. In a time where racism was still prominent, Oprah's perseverance and passion broke the status quo, giving minority groups all over America, especially the black population, hope for times of change. Things were going well for the growing Oprah. With her exceptional work ethic, she was able to climb the ranks at her job, progressing all the way up to co-anchor. But the job of news reporting didn't completely satisfy her. Of course, she was happy to have a job in the field that she was passionate about. She had loved public speaking and writing, but deep down, she knew she wanted to use a passion to connect with others, and news reporting just wasn't cutting it. But where could she find that? In 1978, she left everything behind in Nashville and headed to Baltimore to co-anchor a newscast for WJZ. Thinking she had a secure job, only 2 years in Baltimore, she would find herself being removed from the WJZ newscast due to contract disputes. Did she make the wrong decision? Was this move to Baltimore a step back in her career? Well, for the young journalist, it was a case of taking one step back to take 2 steps forward. This unfortunate event turned out to play in the favor of Oprah, as she found a new role as a co-host of a local Baltimore morning show called The People Are Talking.
People Are Talking with a couple of friends of yours, Richard Scher and Oprah Winfrey, and a lot of heart. Weekday mornings at 9 on Channel 13.
After recording her first episode, the young journalist was hooked. She had finally found the meaningful work she was looking for during her early days of reporting, being able to interact, connect, and help individuals who tuned into the show. Oprah's passion and love for her new gig was felt every time she walked on the set. Her stage presence was filled with energy and charisma, being able to interact with the crowd about any topic given.
Really shocked.
And so too, because you had been trying to have a baby and you'd started on a fertility drug, is that right?
1 month.
1 month you'd been on it. It worked.
It did.
It worked 5 times over. And you have a daughter, Jen.
She was killing the talk show scene, and the attention she was getting would not go unnoticed, as Chicago's ABC affiliate station WLS-TV hired Winfrey to help restore ratings on their morning talk show, AM Chicago. At the beginning, Oprah was met with doubts. Producers of the show had low expectations with their new talk show host. But with the reassurance from Dennis Swanson, the man who recruited her to this show, backing her, it helped Oprah step into the new role with confidence and trust in herself. At the time, Donahue, a talk show competitor hosted by Phil Donahue, was outperforming AM Chicago by a landslide. In less than a month of hosting AM Chicago, Oprah Winfrey would bring ABC's morning talk show back to life. Dennis Swanson's intuition and faith in Oprah seemed to be right all along, as AM Chicago would blow its competitors like Phil Donahue's Donahue Show out of the water in Oprah's first month of hosting. In the following year, WLS TV would expand their morning segment to 1 hour and rename it The Oprah Winfrey Show.
I'm Oprah Winfrey, and welcome to the very first National Oprah Winfrey Show!
From here, the rest of it is history. Oprah would go on to host The Oprah Winfrey Show for another 25 seasons, airing a staggering 4,561 episodes, being nominated for 68 different awards and winning 39. Throughout its lifespan, these titles included Daytime Emmy Awards, Primetime Emmy Awards, and Tony Awards. At this point in time, Oprah was the biggest talk show host in the world. Many people would stop there, and no one would judge them for capping off their career at just that. But for Oprah, this was just the beginning of her entrepreneurial journey. Moving forward, in 1986, Oprah would open her own production company, Harpo Inc. This company would be the general hub for anything Oprah related, as this company would be able to buy out the rights to The Oprah Winfrey Show and own 100% of the show. Later down the line, it would be home to Oprah magazines, Oprah's book club, and many more ventures from the talk show icon.
You are witnessing it. Mainly because I love books. When I was growing up, books were my friends. When I didn't have friends, I had books. And one of the greatest pleasures I have right now in life is to be reading a really good book and to know I have a really, really good book after that book to read.
Amidst having her time and focus being tied down to the success of her empire, she was also shown countless efforts in giving back to the community and to those who need it most. In 2007, Oprah opened doors to the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy in South Africa, where she housed and helped underprivileged females in the area obtain an education and better quality of life. By 2012, it had estimated that Oprah had donated up to $400 million to education programs, scholarships, and disaster reliefs following Hurricane Katrina. Oprah Winfrey's journey is a testament to the power of resilience, authenticity, and vision. From enduring unimaginable trauma and poverty in her early years to becoming one of the most influential media moguls the world has ever seen, Oprah's life reminds us that our past does not define our future. Her story teaches us that even in the darkest times, we hold the power to rewrite our narrative. She didn't wait for an opportunity. She created it. She didn't shy away from her truth. She used it to connect, to inspire, and to lead. For aspiring entrepreneurs, Oprah's life is a blueprint. Whether through business or philanthropy, she built a brand that was rooted in intention and impact. So, as you chase your dreams, build your ventures, and face your own set of challenges, remember Oprah's story. The odds may be stacked against you, but with passion, perseverance, and purpose, there's no limit to how far you can go. This isn't just the story of Oprah Winfrey. It's a story of what's possible for anyone brave enough to believe in themselves.